Here we're looking at question 2, where we're solving equations where we've got unknowns on both sides. So this x shows up on both sides of the equal sign. So let's do A, B, C and D. Here's question A. 2x plus 7 equals x plus 9. Now to answer this, you can't really use a function machine, you've got to use the balancing method. And I would suggest that you always start with the x's. So start with the x's first. Okay. Now I've got x's on both sides. We want x's on just one side. So what I'm going to do is I want to take away x from this side, which will remove the x's altogether, because x minus x would be 0. But if I do something to this side of the equal sign, I have to do it to this side as well. So once I take x away from both sides, let's see what we would get. Well, the first thing I'd get on the left-hand side, 2x minus x would be x. I've still got my plus 7. And on this side of my equal sign, I had x, take x away, that disappears. So now all I've got is a 9. Next step, I want to get algebra all by itself on one side and numbers all by itself on the other side. Here I've got algebra and numbers. So let's take this 7 away from both sides and see what we get on our next line. X plus 7 minus 7 is just going to leave me with x. 9 minus 7 is going to leave me with 2. So we're saying that x equals 2. I could test this by putting the value x equals 2 back into my equation. So why don't we do that? Instead of 2 times x, let's use 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 7. On this side of my equal sign, I've got 11. And if here I put 2 instead of the x plus 9, this is also 11. So 11 equals 11. So that works, so this must be the right answer. Let's have a look at question B. Again, we're going to start with the x's. We've got x's on both sides, and I want x's just on one side. Now if you look, there's more x's on this side than that side. So I'm going to take x's away from both sides, and I'm going to take away 4x from here. But to keep things even, to keep them balanced, I'm going to take away 4x from both sides. So let's have a look what would happen on our next line of working after we take 4x from both sides. I had 8x, I take 4x, I've only got 4x left now. I had minus 34, I haven't done anything to affect that yet, so it's still there. I've got 4x, I take 4x, that becomes 0, cancels that out. I'm just left with the 2 on this side, plus 2. Now I've got algebra and numbers on one side, and I want just algebra by itself. So this minus 34, I don't want that there, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to add 34. But of course, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side to keep the equation balanced. Otherwise, it will no longer be equal. So let's see what happened on the next line. I had 4x minus 34. I add 34, now all I've got is 4x. On this side I had 2, I add 34, now I've got 36. Okay. Now I've got 4x's equals 36, and you might be able to see what the answer is at this point, but what we need to do is one more step. If we've got 4x's and I only want 1x, I'm going to divide this by 4. I'm dividing by the number in front of x. Okay. Now, just to be sure, we need to do this on both sides so things stay balanced. But let's now talk about what happens here. 4x divided by 4. Well, this means 4 divided by 4. Or how many 4's are there in 4? Well, there's only 1. So this must mean I've only got 1x left on the left-hand side. And on this side, how many 4's in 36? Well, 4 times 9 is 36, so x must equal 9. Again, we could test it by putting it into the equation here. Instead of writing x, I'm going to write 9. So 8 times 9 is 72 minus 34. And this should equal 4 times 9, which would be 36, plus 2. Now 36 plus 2 is 38. 72 minus 34, let me just think about this. 44, 54, 64, 74, go up 40, but then back 2 is also 38. Yeah, so you've got 38 on this side, 38 on this side, so this must be the right solution. Okay, we've got 2 more to do. Here we go. I've got x's on both sides. This side's got the most x's, so I'm going to take away all of the x's that are on this side, minus 4x. Do the same to both sides to keep things even. I had 4x, I add 6, I take away 4x. You can probably see these are going to cancel out, and all I'll have left is a 6 on the left-hand side. I had 9x. If I take 4x away, I'll have 5x, and I've still got this minus 9. Right, I've got algebra and number on the same side here, and I want just the algebra. So I'm going to do the opposite of minus 9. I'm going to plus 9. I'm going to do it to both sides to keep things balanced. So on the left-hand side, 6 plus 9 is 15. On this side, 5x minus 9 plus 9 is just going to leave me with 5x. So you might be able to see the answer at this point, but let's just be thorough. Let's divide both sides by the same amount, and the number in front of x here is a 5. So if I divide both sides by 5, things will still be balanced, but 5 divided by 5 is 1. So on the right-hand side of my equation now, all I've got is 1x. 5x divided by 5 leaves me with 1x. 15 divided by 5 leaves me with 3. So there's my answer. And it doesn't really matter whether you write 3 equals x or the other way around, x equals 3. It means the same thing. You could put this back in here and test it. So let's try that. If x was 3, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 6 is 18. So the left-hand side is 18. Let's put this into the right-hand side. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 minus 9 is also 18. So we'd have 18 equals 18. It works, therefore this is the solution. Okay, last question. I've got algebra and numbers on both sides. This side's got the most x's. It's got 4x, where this has only got 3x. So I'm going to take away 3x from this side. To keep things balanced, I'll also do it on this side. So in the next line, I'm going to be left with a 12 on this side, because 3x minus 3x is 0. On this side, 4x minus 3x is x, and I've still got that plus 3. Right, so now what do we do? We've got algebra and numbers. I just want algebra by itself. So let's take away a 3 from this side. Take away 3 from this side to keep things balanced. Now what have I got? I've got x plus 3 minus 3 leaves me with just x. 12 minus 3 would be 9. So x equals 9. Let's test that. 3 9s are 27 plus 12. 27 plus 12 would be 37, 39. So on the left-hand side, I've got 39. Let's see what we've got on the right-hand side. If x is 9, 4 9s are 36. 36 plus 3 is also 39. So on the right-hand side, we've got 39. Both sides are equal, therefore this must be the solution.